Hey folks, how's it going? Happy Monday today. Sorry if you were just in here. I thought I had a little hiccup with my audio, but apparently it was fine because I went back and it was fine. So everything was okay. I just wasn't showing any audio dots on the bottom of the screen there, and I got worried because I've had that happen before where I wasn't on the right audio input. But anyway, here we are. Happy Monday to all of you guys. It is June 7th, 2021, and we are getting ever so close to the end of the school year. I know, and some districts are already out of school. They finished at the end of May. Like my kids, they finished school a week ago. The local high school here, they finished school a week ago. I'm a little bit jealous, not gonna lie. It all comes out in the wash though. So we get different breaks than, these other school districts. So we end up ending a little bit later than other districts, but it is what it is. Anyway, so this is the last full week of school. And actually it's not really even a full week because the seniors graduate on Friday. So we have it's sort of a 4-day week. And then Friday, we do like a split finals. So we're supposed to give seniors like an early final today and tomorrow. And then everybody else, the finals days are Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. It's just the way that things work out. But anyway, this time of year is always really interesting for me as a teacher. And I know it's interesting for students too, because the focus for a lot of people is looking forward, looking forward to the summer and all the things that you get to do in summer. Whether that's looking forward to a summer of relaxing or a summer job for, some of our students I was polling my students the other day, and some of them actually are going to be doing summer jobs, which I think is great. I had a summer job my last 2 years of high school, and it was really wonderful. It got me some spending cash. It allowed me to feel independent for my last 2 years of school, and going into college, I was able to save up. I made like $3,000, $3,500 a summer, just doing summer work, full-time summer work, which was, it was a lot back then. I was making like $850 an hour. And that was, that it wasn't that long ago. It was 20 years ago, maybe. Yeah. About 20 crazy. About 20 years ago, I was making $850 an hour, and, that got me like $3,000 of spending cash for the school year. And that was a time when I started learning to drive. And so the financial independence combined with the physical sort of freedom to go places, I still had to, check with my parents, but there was a gradual release of freedom. That was good for me. That was good for me to be able to do that. I think it's good for most kids to be able to experience a little bit of that freedom, and just knowing what that looks like and feels like. It's addicting. It really, having that sense of independence, when you get a little bit of independence, like responsible independence, like, okay, I'm working, I'm earning some money, I'm able to go places and do things, I'm taking on a little bit more responsibility. That's really addicting. And that's a good addiction because then you want to seek more of that out. Like once I started getting that sense of, I can go places that I want, I can buy things that I want, I can, take on responsibilities that I'm choosing to take on. I wanted more of that. And, the next several years going to college, still being supported by my parents, thankfully, my parents were able to support me. I very lucky and privileged to be in a situation where they were able to support me, and I'm always going to be thankful for my entire life. And I want to pass that on to my kids as much as, reasonably possible. But I remember, like, I couldn't wait to get out from under my parents being supported by them. Like my mom's paying for my gas, and I remember she's paying for my apartment, and she's, I got a college job eventually. And the deal was, okay, I'm going to start paying a little bit more for my rent. It started with like $100 a month paying for my rent, and then gradually started increasing, where I was paying more and more of my own, responsibilities basically. And my parents still helped me out for a while, but it became less and less financial help. And every time I was able to take something over, I was so thrilled, because it felt so good being like, I can do this on my own. I can be an adult on my own. And I feel that's really paid dividends, because now, 20 years later, we have worked up to, we own our own home. We've got investments. We've got money in the bank. We're not filthy rich, but man, we're comfortable, and that was a lot of luck, a lot of privilege, but also a lot of hard work in there too, and discipline, and being addicted to that forward thinking mentality that, hey, when can I get out from under my parents? How soon is it before I can be independent and feeling like, I can stand on my own, and, stand on my own 2 feet and really get out there and be my own person. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that, hey, I had a summer job in high school. I don't know where else it could have come from, because that's where it all started for me. This time of year, for me, and I know for a lot of teachers, but speaking for myself, is a lot of looking forward. I like having kind of productive summers. I know some people like to relax and, veg out, and that's perfectly fine. You need to rest and recharge a little bit. For me, though, I see my summers as opportunities to grow, to work on projects, to focus on things that I want to do. And, usually that involves doing things around the house. It used to be just vegging out and working on video game projects, playing games. And I've kind of graduated away from that, because I found that I really enjoy home ownership and doing things and being capable of, making things happen around the house. And so the last several years, it's been, summer happens, and then we take a whole month to do a renovation. We've done the guest bathroom, we've done the living room, we've done the kitchen. I've worked on the garage. And then this year we're working on the backyard. And in the last stream, we talked about some of the things that are on my list to do. I'm not going to rehash over it, except to point out that we've started to get a little bit of work done on the backyard here. Over the weekend, I tilled everything up. So this backyard is a huge, big old mess. We started flagging out where we're going to put our packed sand patio, and put a pergola in there. And then we spent a lot of time just, taking a shovel and marking lines out. Hey, we want to put a divider here and mulch here. And, here's some ideas for a walkway, and, just working our way through some ideas here. And it feels really great. It feels fun being able to do that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And as the year winds down, especially with distance learning, where, the time constraints they've been a lot looser, because we do the teaching in the morning and, other stuff in the afternoon. I've actually been getting started on a lot of that stuff and planning out my time. Like, okay, I've got a staff meeting on Tuesday. I have to go into work this afternoon today. Okay, Wednesday is when I can start, doing the next phase of this project. So staggering that time in, and, sort of gradually getting into it. So by the time our summer hits in full, man, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be putting in 4 hours in the morning outside while it's cool. And, in the afternoons, I'll be working inside on, some inside projects, still taking time to relax. So I'm shooting for 4 to 6 hour work days. as far as summer projects go. But the rest of the time is still going to be planning, and I got a lot of videos to edit and other projects to do. So it'll be busy. This time of year, though, distance learning and no is always kind of a little bit funky. It's a little bittersweet. Because there's the other aspect of not just looking forward to projects that I want to do, or for students and teachers, looking forward to summer or whatever your summer plans are, but also reflecting on the past school year. For students and teachers, there's always successes and failures, in life. That's going to be the way it's going to be. There's always going to be success and failure. And that's just kind of a part of life. There were things that went well. There are things that didn't go well. And then at the end of any semester, including the end of the year, there is this thing called grades, final grades. And final grades are always an interesting thing to me because for the most part, it's just data for me. It's just going through and adding up, hey, the student did a certain number of projects out of a certain other number of projects. This is the score that they got. I grade, based on a rubric, but it's also kind of holistically. I take into account their ability level and, all the teacherly things that you do when you're grading. But I do that on an assignment basis per assignment so that when it comes time to calculating everything up, for me, it's just pure data. It's just pure numbers. And that works best for me because I'm really only thinking about those holistic terms, hey, how is the growth of this student? Has this student improved? I'm really only thinking about that at the time of the assignment, when that assignment's getting turned in. I don't typically, come back 2 or 3 months later and be like, oh yeah, this student turned in an assignment and it wasn't so great, but it matched their ability level. Like I'm beyond that. So I try and get that done at the time that it was turned in so I can make a more, reasonable assessment of that student's work, and then give it a score, and then I can move on. I can forget about it. I can worry about other things. So when it gets time down to this time, it's like, all right, it's just data. It's just number crunching. That's all. Did you get an A, B, C, D, or otherwise? But invariably, no matter what I do, no matter what I say to try and head it off, there's always a small handful of students who are in panic mode, in emergency mode. And this is, students, parents, other teacher advocates for these students, sometimes you get students coming in by themselves in panic mode. Sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's a student advocate, a teacher who is, trying to advocate for the student. And then you get the emails, you get the emergency mode, and consider this, you get a student who hasn't really done anything for a significant amount of time, has just missed a lot. And that a lot of it's because of just, not doing it, not doing the work, nothing malicious behind it. These can be great kids. They just didn't do the work. That's nothing personal. I don't take it personally. It's like, you just didn't engage with the class. You didn't do the work. You didn't do the assignments. And then, last 2 weeks of class, last 1 week of class, all of a sudden they're looking at their grades. They're realizing that they're not going to pass the class. Sometimes if it's like a senior, they're not going to pass the class, and that's going to, prevent them from graduating on time because they're behind on credits. And then they're in panic mode. And then they're trying to beg, borrow, plead, for whatever. Is there anything that we can do to get this kid's grade up, or is there anything I can do to get my grade up? Can I do extra credit? And I learned early on as a teacher that, everyone always wants extra credit at the very end. So what I end up doing is like the last couple weeks before everything is due, like finally, I always have like a semester extra. I'm not big into doing extra credit during the semester. Like occasionally I'll do that, but at the end of the semester, my typical MO is to throw down a like a research paper. You know, some we don't do a lot of writing and research papers during the school year, but usually at the end of the semester, I have this sort of boilerplate research paper format that I'll throw down maybe a week or two before the end of the semester. And it's like, hey, if you're serious about wanting extra credit, here's a research paper. You can research something that we normally wouldn't research in class, and here you go. A lot of kids don't like that. You know, they want something extra credit that's going to be easy. Because think about it, if you've spent your entire semester not doing the work, your mentality is already in easy mode. You've already got that summer mentality of just kind of doing things at your own pace, not really worrying about things, not having deadlines. And then all of a sudden at the end, you're asking for, you know, some extra credit, and you're expecting something that is going to be easier, or maybe not easier, but, you know, something that's different from the regular credit. And that's the mentality, unfortunately, that some students end up having, is that they can take a class that has a specific curriculum. There's curriculum objectives, things that need to be learned. If that's not something that they like or find, you know, that's not something that I want to do, that's not exciting for me, that's boring, there's this mentality that, well, I can just not do that work and then wait until the very end, make it into a big crisis and say, hey, can I do something different? Can I do something else? It happens every year. It always happens every year. And again, sometimes it's a student coming in, sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's a student advocate coming in at the last minute. And it's never at the beginning of the year. You know, you do the first project and it's like, oh yeah, this is not the kind of work that I thought was going to be happening in this class. It's too late to switch out. You know, hey, is there some way that we can, you know, maybe modify the work? Is there a different direction that we can go? You know, can I work independently in, you know, doing something different? You know, it's never that at the beginning of the year. It's always waiting until the last 2 weeks, the last week, and then it's a big emergency. It's not my emergency. I'm not the one who procrastinated on anything, right? And I got to remember not to take it personally, because, you know, it's not personal. You know, it's this person's grade. It's not my grade. But that's where procrastination gets you. I get it. I've been a big procrastinator my whole life. And the result of procrastination, of course, is having to do a whole lot of work at the very end. So when I suggest things like, you know, I get an email from someone, it's like, oh, there's only 2 weeks left of the school year. There's only 1 week left of the school year. I'm so far behind. What can I do to get my grade up? And I just give them a list of all the stuff that they're missing. I'm like, you could start here, start with the credit that you didn't turn in. I mean, I'm super nice when it comes to late work. I'm like, hey, if you did the work, you did the work. I don't care that much if you hit deadlines or not. You know, because we all kind of learn at our own pace. Yeah, the real world has deadlines, but, you know, it's high school. It's not the real world yet. You know, I care that you did the work. And I just give them that list of, you know, hey, here's the work that you missed. Go start with there. And sometimes the kids will come back and start turning in assignments and, you know, start taking it seriously. And every once in a while I get kid or parent or student advocate who's like, oh, this is too much work to do. And yeah, I only have a week left. I only have 2 weeks left. This is too much work for me to do in 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, if I were to come up with a different assignment, it would be the same amount of work, because you're not, I'm not giving you a grade for 2 weeks worth of work. I'm giving you a grade for a semester's worth of work, right? If you have a semester's worth of work to do in, and you only have 2 weeks to do it, whose fault is that? Whose procrastination led to this event, right? And that's never a comfortable conversation to have. I mean, it's not that I don't take pleasure in laying down the law and you know and taking a principled stance on this sort of thing. It's just, it's an inevitability that that's going to happen with at least a few students every single year. But it's just something that has to be dealt with. You're always going to get some students, some people who are in crisis mode because they've procrastinated on, whatever it is they said they were going to do in October and November or December. Yeah, we'll do this. Hey, where's the missing assignments? Okay, yeah, we'll get caught up. It doesn't happen. There's no more communication after that until the last couple of weeks of school year, and then it's crisis mode again. What can we do to get caught up? Well, go back to what we talked about earlier, and you agreed that you were going to get caught up on, and you never did. So, yep, that's where we're at. But we'll get through this. We got one more week basically of school, plus there's a couple final days next week. But I don't do big finals anyway, so that's easy stuff. And then we are on to summer break, and hopefully it's going to be a regular year next year. Most likely, that's the way things are looking. So we'll be able to get back to a little bit more normalcy. So I am planning to make the most of this summer, work on some projects out here, work on some channel videos, and we'll see where that goes. All right, guys, y'all have a good rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.